Welcome back to Backyard Builds.
We are on the sedan today. We've got a crew of boys here.
Saxon's here for all those that love Saxon.
We've got Nick here. I don't know if Nick's made an appearance yet.
Female viewing will probably go up with him.
And we've got Dan, so we've covered the mature age female viewers as well.
Oh.
That's a compliment. What are you saying?
Alright. First off, we're going to rip it apart, get everything we don't need out of it, and go from there.
That's it. It's back to work.
Good to go, Dan.
Thanks, mate. Noise on. How'd you go in there, Dusty?
Mate, there's plenty of holes.
I didn't say make holes. I said fix holes. Oh, well, bit of extra rust in it, but pretty good for sitting under a pine tree for probably 30 plus years. So. Oh. Boys got the diff out already. Tail shaft and 3-speeds out. Linkage is disconnected.
Pretty cool. Or do you order hail every time you film, Tom? Wasn't that one of the comments? Wasn't
it's
hailing
ready to
every
go
time?
Yeah, when it rains it gets pretty gnarly in here, but that is rain just dripping on the guard.
But head expansion is exactly the exact same. Alright.
Diff in?
Nick and Dan are going to put this 9-inch in.
Alright.
I'd say a couple of them.
This is probably the worst. Probably the worst of the rust, honestly.
Yeah, it's the worst of it.
Needs rear floor pans, we've decided, but it's not the end of the world. But you can't buy that section, so Saxon's going to make something up and try my new fancy spot weld drill, aren't we?
That should go alright.
I hope so. It's bloody $30. Alright, get it.
shouldn't film that we're using a steel burr on aluminium.
No one would have known unless you said.
Okay, well, coarser teeth for non-ferrous. We're port matching the gasket to suit Tom's backyard build budget tight ass manifold.
So you just got sockets to fit in the holes there?
Yeah,
Yep.
as a guide. And then I've used a texter to just mark the interference. You can see this black texter mark here and all up there where it's going to restrict flow.
Yep.
Same here.
So you just port match into the gasket essentially?
Yep, bang on.
Yep.
This side I've completed. You can see that how much I've sort of taken out of each.
Yep.
I've made the gasket to suit this left side. And then just got rid of the little burrs, and then I'll countersink every one of these holes a smidge.
Just so there's no burr sitting up?
Yep, and then deck it on a piece of granite with some fine sandpaper or a piece of flat glass, anything flat. Stick the sandpaper to it, and then in a figure 8 with your manifold back and forth over the surface. It should be good, but this is a marketplace one. We don't know the history of it.
We know the heads are good because they're brand new.
Yep.
So we hope they're good.
Yep.
But as for this, as Nick said,
we're treating it like we don't know it, so that's why we're taking this extra care. I've decked it roughly with a flat file, and then I'll also do a slight chamfer on the outside, just so there's no
Sharp
imperfections. If it sucks air here, the motor's not going to run good, so that's why I'm spending the time.
alright.
Yeah.
I'll let you get back to it.
Thanks, mate. Cool.
Can I be your agent?
Oh.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Sweet.
You just want me to put my finger in your hole?
no fat
On the tip. Yeah.
Oh, it's on the tip.
filming, I shouldn't say. I won't get invited back yet, I just thought it.
Yeah.
I even missed what you said.
Same. Upside down, back front.
No,
Yeah.
so I've got this line through here. You got it on thing. Yeah. So what I've done, I marked the line. I'll just keep it in rough shape. I'll probably take it over the English wheel and just smooth that out. And then I'll flip it over and do there's a slight reverse curve in there.
Yeah.
There.
Keep bashing. Alright, what's going down the front here?
Me and Bill will pull the stub axles off.
That's out.
I've pulled mine off. Bill's
Yep.
still going.
Lovely.
You just want to cut these lines, yeah?
Yep. Bill,
Yes, fine.
LB,
Huh?
how you going?
Well, for a bloke that knows nothing about what he's doing, pretty good, I'd say.
Oh, I reckon that's pretty good then. Oh, look at that, you go.
Not great.
You know, I might get you a set of ice scripts. Yeah, vice scripts there. Six. And spin it back around, you might be able to pull it back out.
Would you look at that?
Oh, I feel good, Bill. Nice and strong. Strong like a Ronda. Gentle. Nah, you probably need to spanner the rest of the way there, champ.
Yeah.
Lovely. Take it fully off and then put it back on before you put the tool on. What do you need, Zach? can go one better. I'll get something to cut brake line. No, not brake line.
Have you heard of that?
Yeah, champ.
Thanks, mate. What are you doing?
Dirtying my tip.
Lucky you got that on camera.
Yeah, no, I just gotta fully weld this so I can put that next section on, and then weld it all up. It should be done.
What about this hole?
Oh, apparently we're leaving that for patinted fucking mumbo jumbo.
Patinted rat rod barn find.
Yeah. He apparently only wants to fix the ones where you got to put two front seats. Apparently the rear seats don't matter.
No, because he's putting bucket seats in here.
Yeah. So.
What are you doing, Bill?
Bludgeon.
Roger that. Tom left you some jobs. That'd be enough for one side, won't it, there?
Oh, heaps, yeah. That'd probably do the long side, yeah. Just gotta go from the right hand side up and over.
What are you doing, Zach?
Straight in line, Bill. What are you doing?
Filming you.
Sick.
You big TV star, you.
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Oh yeah.
You want to explain what you got here, Zach?
Yeah, so brake flaring tool. These ones aren't very cheap. There is a couple of options. You can get like a plumber's flaring tool, which does the exact same job, but as Dan will agree, not as nice and or as quick. So different size mandrels for different size Bundy tube or stainless tube. These ones will do stainless as well. Your handheld ones won't. So you've got your first operation, operation 0, operation 1, and then operation 2. So it's for what we call a double flare. So early stuff will have a single flare, and then we've obviously got flare nuts as well. So the flare nut has the same seated taper. No, it's all good. Just so we go around to operation 0, flip the handle over, clip it in, tighten it up. So what operation 0 does is flushes it off at the end of the mandrel. We go operation 1 on 3/16, and then operation 2. Loosen this off. it over. And perfect flare. So the problem with the handheld screw type is that you can kick them sideways and they would be uneven and no good. So obviously with brake lines you don't want to mess around with them, you don't want to shortcut it. At the end of the day it's a hydraulic system. If it has a leak the brakes will fail. Pretty scary driving a car with no brakes at speed. So Dan's going to slide under there and bend her up and build her to suit. Give it those, Dan.
Thanks, mate.
Yeah, we don't want to do this in real time, Nico. We'll be here for the rest of the day.
You don't get no test starts.
Oh yeah, I know.
Either you fuck up or you don't.
Sits up about there with the gaskets.
Cool.
It'll actually.
That is a big gap. This.
That's actually pretty small. You should see Zach's. Zach's is like stick your finger in there.
They don't do a gasket for that?
They do, but everyone I've ever spoke to has said, don't worry about it. Don't run it, just slaz it.
Alright.
Why are people sticking their fingers in your gap sack?
You got brake cleaner? Please?
Yes, on the shelf. Closer to the toolbox, right around the corner. Blue, keep going, keep going. Righto guys, everyone's sort of left now. It's been about half hour, 45 minutes since everyone left, probably an hour actually. Thought I'd do a bit of a quick review, a bit of an end of day one update. They did pretty good. The boys have absolutely killed it today. We'll start where we started most of it, which was the diff. So 9-inch diff has gone in. Dan did a killer job. He got all the old stuff disconnected, including the handbrakes. This runs HU style drums, so they're stock standard drums. So I can reuse the handbrakes, which is perfect. No need to bugger around with a disc or anything. Diff center went in. The boys went and got some new nuts, a bit of gasket goop for that. That's all in. Axles are in. Handbrakes are on. Dan also killed it with the brake lines. He's made up a nice new hard line to the T-line, which is awesome. I just need to get a flexible hose from that to the body. What else? The rear isn't technically fully finished yet. Obviously going to replace the shocks. I'm going to put more of an adjustable shock in there. Also still going to replace the leaves. I want to run Gazard Bros monoleaf in it, like we've got in the Ute, like Zach's got in his wagon. Only different is I'm not going to run a Caltrack. I'm just going to run the slider plate at the back and see how it goes. Worst case is I can always add the Caltrack later if I find I've got a bit of spring bind. So yes, that's the rear end. 90% done, I guess. Other side's the same. Dan killed it on the brake lines. A little diff breather I had put in. Handbrake again. It's pretty self-explanatory. Saxon the Bearded Wonder has killed the patch panel here and is pretty beautiful looking. He remade that piece, which is actually sort of originally part of the whole front floor. These are originally a single pressed whole floor, and then it was like a rear floor. He's also remade this patch panel here. As you can see, it's not fully welded in yet. I've made the decision it needs rear floor pans. I can get them from Rare Spares. I'll probably get them probably early in the new year and get that sorted. It's not a huge drama, not really a setback, just another thing we decided to do today. The front floor has a couple of little pinholes we need to fill in, but other than that, the front floors are pretty good. Probably just get away with a bit more of a wire wheel and a coat of paint. Some of you might be wondering what those are. These are bucket seat mounts. So I had a HK years ago. I actually pulled these seats out of it. I think I sold it with a bench seat in or no seat. Anyway, I had these buckets sitting up on the shelf or my mezzanine for about 10 years. So they're not great, they need recovering, they're the wrong colour for the car, it doesn't matter. But I've been saving them for a 4-door car or a Monaro or whatever. So now I've got a 4-door car, they're going to go in. I'm going to use them. The outer seat mounts are all the same, nothing changes with that, but the inners need a mount. So this come off a Monaro that I have in the yard, coming up in a future episode. We just drilled those out of the floor. Tomorrow Sax will get up underneath, we'll bolt them in and just plug weld them on. We'll clean up under there, bit of copper primer, weld them in. Same thing on the other side, the other one's just drying over there. So yeah, Sax is absolutely, like, that's pretty nice looking, I'm loving it. So that's all good. Sax has got another little patch just in here to do tomorrow. That's actually under the rear seat, but it's only a little piece. We'll just make a bead section, he can weld that in. We're gonna try and, this door's got a little bit of a bump in it, we're gonna try and straighten that out. And this door here has a little bit of a boomerang, so might get Nick to get that off tomorrow and we'll pop that out. So that's been going on there actually, and what Nick has been killing it on today is getting the engine ready to go. So I had Nick sandblast the intake manifold, it was fully off. It came up pretty killer. We went over to my old man's place, just popped it in the mill, and if I can get this off without ruining it, we actually knocked down the wall that goes between the upper and lower chambers on the dual plane. I'm led to believe that gives it, it's just going to make it a bit more drivable, being that I'm going to Holy Sniper. It's not trying to balance each side on a carb. It'll just sort of fog the area and it'll scavenge, and it should look after itself. Should. Other thing we got done, flex plate is on, ARP studs, a little bit of Loctite on those. That's ready to go. Ignore me dismantling the starter motor. I had to index it, which required fully dismantling it. Moving on. Some of you may have heard that me and Castlemaine Rod Shop products aren't the best of friends, but I went ahead and got their style engine mounts. They were the cheapest style on the market at the moment. I think they were 250 bucks, 40 bucks postage or something like that, but they were available. They actually got them to me really quick. Actually come with all the bolts, which I was pretty impressed about. I'm happy about that, so hopefully there's no issues with that tomorrow. It just lands and they drop in. Obviously they got both sides, they're actually marked drivers, passengers, so they're ready to go. All we got to do tomorrow with that is I just got to reassemble the starter motor and bolt that on. We've got some rocker covers just to cover those up in the meantime. Transmission needs to go on. We need to double check the length of our bolts. Excuse me, I had a couple but they were too long and they actually wouldn't have done up on the transmission. We'll sort that out tomorrow. The boys actually got some more of those today. Moving back to the front, you might recognise this beautiful brake flaring tool and that beautiful tube straightener over there. Along with Dan doing the rear brakes, Zach and Bill concentrated on the front brakes. So I'm going to try and explain this to you guys as simply as possible. Putting HQ brakes on a KTG sedan is super easy. You do not need to go overboard with rear discs, and it's really easy to do. One thing I had done, this car was drum originally. I got a booster off a friend, Pat. I sent it off to the boys at Hydro Boost in Echuca. They didn't reco it. It was an exchange style setup. It's the same booster these cars would come with factory. Now onto the HQ brake conversion. That is a HQ to HZ disc drum master cylinder. It is the exact same bolt pattern to the brake booster. So that bolts straight on. Dead simple. Front and rear lines. And we'll just take a little side note here. How sexy are those front lines that Zach's made up? It's a bit too flash. Anyway, they are pretty schmicko. Brake lines come down into here. Let me just get a light on that so I can point it out. That is a proportioning valve. That is a HQ proportioning valve for a disc drum setup. As you can see, there is labels on there. Rear in, rear out, front in, driver's passenger out. I've got that. All we do now is run them to the driver's side, which is here. Run that across to the passenger side tomorrow. Rear brake to the rear. From there, I have late style alloy Gerlock calipers. These are a far better version than the PBR cast iron versions. If I can turn that, no I can't. I had these discs resurfaced. They were brand new, but I just had them linished or disc machined by the guys over at ACT Brakes in Phillip. Nathan over there looked after me. He did a killer job. He also reconditioned the calipers for me. Went above and beyond. I said don't worry about stripping any of the cast or anything. He's made these things look like brand new. New bleed nipple in them. Yeah, absolutely killer. Brand new pads in them. Any squeal shims. Should be sweet. Also new wheel bearings in the front. So with the HQ brake conversion, this is a HQ spindle. There is quite literally no difference from HK disc spindle to HZ/WB disc front spindles. They are the same part number. Holden got lazy, they designed it once and they used it for, Jesus, 15 years, 20 years. Nothing wrong with that. You could put a new lowering spindle or drop spindle in it, but I don't need to do that. So all we did was, this is the old drum brake assembly off the front. Different bolt pattern. Sorry, it's it bolts on it in a different way. It's also a different spindle. It's a different part number. You can't use that. I believe some people sell a conversion mount to bolt on there, to bolt the caliper on. Waste of time. Go out and get yourself a set of standard HQ disc spindles. All you do is unbolt the factory HKTG arm. It is exactly the same. Like I said, same spindle. Unbolt the factory arm and bolt it on to the spindle. It's the same bolts. It bolts straight on. You keep the same tie rod style setup. Nothing changes. Super easy. Super easy. They're even the same ball joints. That's all you have to do, guys. Gives you much, look at it, it's a much thicker vented rotor. You can get these slotted and dimpled. This is second-hand parts. They're just solid. There's nothing wrong with solid. It'll stop just fine. You can put upgraded wheel studs in if you want. This is going to be just fine. Again, later on, this front end's coming out. I've got to re-bush it. That's just something I want to do for Rego. I just want to put lowered springs. So yes, down the boys, Dan, Zach and Billy in particular got all these out on both sides. Dan, I think, repacked the wheel bearings while I was out, and they were all bolted. I came back and it was all bolted up, ready to go. The only thing I need to do, because I've put these on here, these were second hand, like I said, they came with a brake line, which is nowhere to be found. The problem with the brake line is it comes straight out. It's right on the back. I don't know if you can see that. They come out there. The problem I'm going to have is it wants to come straight out, and the brake is over here, or the clip for the hose. So what I'm going to need to do is get a banjo fitting made up, quite a long hose around there, and I'll just need to cable tie it back. Nothing wrong with that. It's just a bit of an oversight. I think from memory you could swap this spindle side to side and it would put this on the back, but this is a better braking style, having the caliper at the front, just from what I have learnt. So yes, new brake flexible hoses need to be bought, but we can still make up the hard line. So that's the front brakes. Again, Billy over here killed it. He killed himself using the ball joint press. I think I scared the life out of him when it popped. But again, it's all there ready to go. We just have to obviously get the new hoses and then bleed it up at a later date. But it's not really a huge drama. I'm not too stressed about that. So yes, engine bay was washed down to this morning before we even started rolling on the camera, and that is ready to accept the engine. So the only thing we've got to do tomorrow morning, the brake line that goes from the washing valve, excuse me, loops over under the tunnel there, drops down, the clip's just down there somewhere. So we need to make that brake line up, we'll probably make the other one with there, and we'll make the brake line that goes all the way to the rear of the car. That is the plan first thing in the morning. Then we'll get this transmission off the stand, get it bolted up to that motor, and it'll go in. So yeah, like I said, that's day one done. There's still plenty left to do. There's still plenty of parts left to buy. I'm not even going to think about what I need to buy just yet, because there's heaps. But the boys absolutely killed it on day one. I'm super proud of them. Super thankful for all their help. I definitely wouldn't have got it this far on my own in one day. But yeah, tomorrow, that motor ends up in that engine bay. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned for episode 2. Like I said, it's where the motor goes in, the rest of it goes back together. We get it down and rolling. That's the plan tomorrow, is to get it back down on its wheels and rolling, so I can actually push it back, get a car back in here, work on other stuff. There's plenty of jobs to do. There is more coming on the Commodore soon. There's another project over the back there that's a friend of mine's. A couple of little rust repairs. We'll show you what's going on with that. And that's it. The code work today, the code word is just going to be teamwork. Like, teamwork makes the dream work, guys. And if you bill, it's Gronk. But let's not worry about it. So, bucket seats, 350 Chev, turbo 350, 9-inch. Sneaky little steering wheel. We'll get that one on tomorrow if I can find a boss. So yeah, that's it. Still plenty left to do. Code word is teamwork. See you next time. See you tomorrow.